and back again one final time this season. Welcome everybody back to BRPtv and the Murder iRacing series. We are coming to you live from the virtual Oswego Speedway for our very first broadcast from this racetrack in our very first championship night for the Murder iRacing series. Jonathan Howe alongside of me. We're here in Oswego, New York for the first time. Jonathan, I don't know if you've gotten to turn some laps yourself on this racetrack at any point in time. I have, and I loved it. I don't know if you had the same experience or same opinion of this wonderful facility.
I have not yet had the opportunity to do that yet, Joe, and I'm a little jealous as I'm watching it. It's so beautiful, and it looks like they've done such a good job adapting this facility into the game. I believe it's in asphalt and in dirt form for all racing needs at this wonderful facility, and it feels great to be watching our modifieds turn some laps around this place. I think this is going to be one heck of a championship event, and man, do we have a logjam at the top of the standings.
Yeah, the tops of the standings, I don't think it could have gotten any better if you would have scripted it. So coming into tonight's race, we are tied. We've got Mike Brewer and Cody Higbie leading the way at the top of the board, and Kenny Coe's only 3 points behind. So the top three separated by 3 points, and then you've got Anthony Roselli down. He's 8 points back from Brewer and Higbie. Definitely not out of the fight in fourth place, actually very much a title contender. And then you drop back a bit to Gavin Isley, who basically by any single one of those four drivers in the top four starting the feature, guaranteed Gavin Isley cannot be your champion. So we're all but set to say it's four of them at the top. And Jonathan, for four drivers to be fighting for the championship in that close of a fight here, I think we've done a pretty good job with this season in the point standings and the points payout, I should say, especially.
Yeah, you know what? And I think we saw a lot of parity throughout the year. I think we've had, one, maybe two drivers win multiple times this year. So we've seen that at the top of this field, there are multiple contenders that are worthy of a championship, and I think all of them have now found themselves in that spot where they potentially could walk away with the title here tonight. You see Anthony Roselli at the top of the board in terms of speed so far. He's got the most work to do amongst those front four, but I'm far from counting him out, especially if he can turn a quick lap, start up front in a heat, and grab a couple extra bonus points.
Yeah, that would definitely be a good way to start things off. I honestly, I think you need those bonus points in a fight like this, Jonathan. You need to be able to get as many points as you can out of the night, and especially to start them off. I mean, 2 points could mean the difference at the end of it. You need them.
Absolutely. Every single point is going to count here tonight, and I know we have less points available in previous years, and I think that's, again, a good reason as to why we've had things as tight as they've been. Maybe something to be, I don't want to say concerned about, but look towards the middle of the pack in terms of speed charts. That's where you see Kenny Coe and Brewer both down there with about 0.5 of a second off of Anthony Roselli's fast time in terms of turning an 18.1. So they've got to find a little bit of speed here. I know it's just practice right now, but hey, we're talking about practice. Hey, there's a game coming up, and they got to show up for it.
We're talking about practice? Oh, we're talking about
practice.
We're talking about practice, man. No, I mean, it could translate, it could not. We always wonder when we come through the practice sessions, which of these guys are running qualifying setups and which of them are running race setups to practice. That always adds a little bit of discrepancy between the lap times, so we'll have to wait and see. I can tell you confidently that if I had come out on this racetrack to race tonight, I would be currently sitting 19th on the leaderboard out of 21. So I ran an 18.891 in my practice, which I took it was only 15 minutes of my life that I've ever raced this track. So you got to give me a little space there, but nonetheless, this racetrack,
another 15 minutes, you might have found like another 0.6. Why not?
Yeah, you see, this is why I have Jonathan aside of me. This is why he's in the booth with me, because he's optimistic.
Captain Positive.
That's right. This racetrack in real life hosts Super Dirt Week, one of, if not the single most important races for these modifieds in an entire season in this country. It branches into Canada for how important Super Dirt Week is, and Super Dirt Car Series and Super Dirt Week are presenting tonight's program. We got to shout out Dean Reynolds for making that happen, and the Super Dirt Car Series. We'll talk more about them as we get into the night. But first up, Jonathan, it's going to be the 2 laps for each driver, single car qualifying, practice session runs over. Anthony Roselli and Dominic Roselli at the top. So we're going to hand it over, and hey, we'll see what happens. We got qualifying coming to you. Who do you want to start with, Jonathan?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I feel like you want to get out there early. You know, I think you want to be establishing some kind of, I don't want to say a heater lap because you never know. You could go out there first and maybe get beat, but I think you want this racetrack as fresh as possible. I think you want to get out there, get your lap in, and then maybe, where you fall, let the chips fall, and then figure it out come heat racing time. But I feel like some of our championship contenders, they're gonna wait till the last minute. They're gonna watch, they're gonna wait, and they're gonna see what they need to turn. I see Dean Meitzler already out there turning a lap. Let's see what he turns here. See if it's an indication of maybe was he one of those guys running a race setup or maybe a qualifying setup for practice.
We'll have to see. He was the first driver to pull it out of the pit lane to get up into qualifying, so he's going to be one of the first ones to put up a time on the leaderboard. The first one, 18.920. He is not going to be quickest right away. That is going to go to Matt DeRitter. As you can see, the 03 car has jumped up to the top, but Ryan Beagle, Jeff Sharp behind him. Actually not too bad for Dean Meitzler. Gavin Isley now to the top here, Jonathan. The 18 car, always fast.
Yeah, I think what you're going to be watching for is who can be the first guy below 18.5. I think the pole, I don't know if we're going to quite get to the 18.1s for the pole speed, but I definitely think you got to be sub 18.5 if you want to be at the top of the board. And you see Gavin Isley pick up a little bit there on the second lap. Something else to watch for there, Joe, as he goes 18.49.
Yep, you learn a little bit the first lap you go around, and if you get things a little miscued or you take a line that isn't quite as aggressive on your first go around, you can learn and you can bring it back on lap number 2 and put up a little bit faster time. Glenn Sharp tried to do that. He did not, so he stays 12th place on the board. Brandon Plank up near the top. Anthony Roselli has taken over the top spot in qualifying here, which he has done a couple times already this season. Finishing his second lap there. Let's see who else we can grab. Oh, there's another championship contender of ours. There's Cody Higbie.
Let's watch him. Looks like a pretty aggressive line on entry, but he really keeps it down low through that set of corners, and he'll dive into the next set here. I really like how smooth this lap looks. I don't know if it's going to be fast. We'll see, but Higbie coming out of the corner. He only goes to third quick with that, 18.7. I thought that might be a little bit faster. It looks like he's carrying so much speed, maybe giving up a little bit of it, Joe, as he goes through the corners. And still, Anthony Roselli with an 18.45, 4.59. That's where you want to be right now. That's fast time. So I'm kind of surprised that Higbie wasn't closer towards the top. There's certainly a lot of breathing room for some of these guys to go and turn a lap, like Brewer, who hasn't even gone out there yet. Neither has Kenny Coe amongst the championship contenders. And there it is, Brewer to the top of the chart. And Kenny Coe right on cue. Okay.
Wow. Well,
I don't think I could have said that any better.
They waited, Jonathan. They listened to you. They waited until the end of the session to go out on the track. And Kenny Coe straight to the top. He needs those bonus. Well, he's not going to get bonus points out of qualifying, but he is going to start up front in the heat races, which is going to help him. Here is a guy I honestly, Jonathan, I think I'm going to give him the award for the most improved driver this year. Dylan Smith started off this season kind of just working his way through it, figuring out how to race with this crew. And in these last couple weeks, he's become one of the guys we look at as very competitive, especially in the heat races and then into starting well in features. He starts in the top 10. He's been having some great weeks. And here he's going to end up 12th with his second lap going in. And, that's kind of just what I think. I think he's probably the most improved from start to finish this season we've seen.
I think you're right about that, Joe. I think that's definitely a guy you can point to that went from, just trying to make some, how do I say this? Make some starts, make some laps, get a feel for the track, get a feel for the environment, to now being a threat regularly for top 10s. And this is definitely a tough field. Like, I'm looking through this right now. You got Brandon Plank, who only qualified 9th. We've seen what Brandon Plank can do in the past in this series. He has been one of the more dominant drivers.
Yeah.
And yet he finds himself ninth on the grid so far in terms of turning a lap here at Oswego. I know it's a relatively new track, not a ton of laps for all of these guys, but man, oh man, this is going to be super interesting. I'm super interested to see. So we're going to have what? Probably 3 heats, I would say. Kenny Ko is going to start on the pole for 1, Brewer and Roselli, all 3 of them in position for bonus points. But you know who's got to do some work is going to be Cody Higbie.
Yeah. Yeah, Cody Higbie. I mean, he's going to be starting second in heat race number 3. So he's right to the outside of Roselli, but he... I do agree. I think he has work to do, especially considering Roselli was fastest before, and then he was 3rd fastest here. Definitely going to have to watch out to see if he's got anything to contend with that 7 car. But we got 2 heat races to go through here before we get to that. And you're watching it live on BRPtv. I'm going to run you through the starting lineup for our first heat race of the night. We got 8 drivers lined up, and starting from the pole, going to be your fast qualifier of this evening. The number 22C, he's 3 points down in the championship, so he's looking to gain a couple extra. Driver representing Canastota, New York, is Kenny Ko. To his outside, the Performance Automotive number 18 of Gavin Isley. He has yet to... I think he's yet to get on a podium this season, even, Jonathan. He's definitely looking to get some run together here tonight. The 03 car of Matt DeRitter, the Murder Graphics machine out of Pompton Lakes, New Jersey, will go from the 3rd starting position. And starting outside of him in the number 28 machine, a regular of this series, representing East Greenbush, New York, in the Scotty's Fashion Gowers Auto Body Shop, 28, is Jeff Sharp. Yet to get onto the racetrack, there he is. The Dirt Defender number 49, the Douglasville, PA native. He is also going to be the award recipient of the 47 Technology Loyalty Award. He showed up to every race this season. He is not going to be, unfortunately for him, a part of the payout of the championship standings. And therefore, 47 Technology is going to give him an award / refund him back his entry fee for this season to thank him for still coming out and being part of our show every week. On the outside of him will be car number 71. That's going to be Dylan Slider, representing Port Colborne, Ontario, the Slight Electrical Machine. And then on row number 3, we've got the number 60, another New Yorker, and the Phase 3 racing machine is Brian Berger, a regular of this series. And rolling off from shotgun in this field, car number 99, out of Columbia, South Carolina, the GRS Photography SC Silver Bullet Racing Machine is Glenn Sharp. That's your lineup. Jonathan, Gavin Isley, and Kenny Ko are going to lead it to us with Matt DeRitter and Jeff Sharp right in tow. We should be able to see some pretty good racing. Do you expect the racetrack to be holding up? Do you expect it to be single file? What are you thinking about this race facility?
I think we're going to see, I don't want to say single file right off the hop. I think we're going to see drivers maybe do a little bit of testing here, especially if you're towards the back. Figure something out for later. But I expect this facility to change a lot, just the way it does in real life sometimes. I think the game has done a pretty good job, by all accounts that I've heard, in terms of reflecting that and how this surface, which is, of course, an asphalt surface that gets covered in dirt. This is not a true blue dirt track, but it is the home of Super Dirt Week, and it is the Steel Palace, as it is known. You can see it on the screen there. I love Oswego. Can't wait to get back there. This past year didn't go because I was busy getting married, but you know what? Now I have an excuse for an anniversary trip every year to go to Oswego.
I was a little busy. I was just, nothing major. Just getting married. Yeah.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
No, nothing that was super preoccupying or nothing.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you what. Honestly, Jonathan, having the laps this morning, earlier, for this preparation, just to kind of get a feel for what the drivers were going to be seeing on this racetrack. I went around it a couple times. That's probably the difference maker to me, to say I would love to go to this event someday. It's a cool racetrack. It's fun to drive. We got 7 of the 8. Somebody didn't come out. Dylan Slider did not make the call. So we are down to 7, and we're already wrecking. Holy cow. We got Glenn Sharp in the wall, Dean Meitzler breaking some shit, and Brian Berger was involved as well. We're going to stay green, and that cleared them up pretty quick. We're down to basically the 4 guys who can get those bonus points already, Jonathan.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like that Catfish, that Gavin Isley machine, he might be the sleeper in all of this. I know he's pretty much mathematically out of the championship, assuming he needs like 4 guys to just basically fall down on lap 1 of the main feature event to have any kind of mathematical shot at it. But Gavin's had a really quiet year. We've talked about him being a constant threat. There's no reason that he can't be a spoiler here tonight and get up there and steal a win away from one of these championship contenders. And what a story it would be here if he can snatch an extra bonus point away from Kenny Ko, who's one of those drivers who needs every point he can get to get himself clear and through to a title tonight.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing for Kenny Ko is that Mike Brewer and Cody Higbie's actually starting in second, but Mike Brewer especially is starting on pole for the second heat race. So Kenny Ko, if he gets 2 points here, very possibly is only going to be retaining that 3-point gap to Brewer. Now we'll see about Roselli and Higbie after that. But, that being said, doesn't matter. Get the points. So Kenny Ko does not need a spoiler of Gavin Isley. Gavin has nothing more to go for here than pride and maybe a couple extra bonuses. Gavin Isley just wants to win this damn thing.
Yeah, Isley's doing a pretty good job of not letting Ko get away. I'm surprised at the bottom feeding. I guess we shouldn't be from Gavin Isley. We call him the catfish for a reason. But it seems like the bottom line is definitely the spot where you want to be. I know there was some chatter about maybe a glitch in the game if you get a little too high up into the outside wall at all. So, Joe, I don't know if maybe during our warm-up session you want to run over that. But as the white flag waves on Kenny Ko, he's put a little bit of gap here, and he should be able to comfortably bring this home from the bottom feeding Gavin Isley. Hang on to it. I thought Gavin was going to almost spin it out there. He got a little slideways coming off of 2.
There are a couple of guys who did that down the backstretch, and especially in the corners, as Kenny Ko's going to come to the checkered flag. So no trouble from Kenny Ko. He's going to win it over Gavin Isley. And in third place, Matt DeRitter. Fourth place is Jeff Sharp at the end of your first heat race of the night. I was surprised that we didn't see more action around there. Definitely, we had some guys all over the place, and we'll see if it retains forward into the second heat race. We'll get back to that falling out of the racetrack thing in due time, because I also want to mention that I'm seeing the bumps start to form, and boy howdy, this racetrack, even when it's young, there are some serious bumps on the entry of turn 1 and the entry of turn 3 that you're going to have to deal with as a driver. So we're going to be watching to see which of these guys can do it and which of them can't. All right, heat race number 2, 7 drivers lined up. From the pole, tied at the championship lead position, car number 39B of Mike Brewer. To his outside, could be a championship contender. Unfortunately, had some miscues earlier this season. Representing Monticello, New York, in the Van Sickle Electric Cactus Fabrication Patrick Reiser Driving School. Number 80 is Dominic Roselli. We call him D-Rose here on BRPtv. Joe Matthews, representing Trotman, North Carolina, in the Jam Juice Arrowhead Iron Magnolia Hill Farm. Number 9 will roll from third. And from fourth place, back again after a little break there, representing Doylestown, Pennsylvania. They call him Hosehead. The USA 1 Canco heating oil and propane Lyman racing machine is Zachary Bardsley. From the inside of row number 3, the Slight Electrical number 2, representing Ontario, Canada, is Alan Slight. And to his outside, in the number 4, out of Lyons, New York, Slide Job Scotty Rayom in the Full Throttle Motorsports number 4 machine. And rolling from 7th, not the best starting position we've seen out of him, out of Hannibal, New York, the Ender Racing Engines, Matt Hatter Racing, Haley Memorial, number 20 with the butterfly, Cody Harris goes shotgun. All right, Jonathan, we got 7 drivers. We got 8 laps. It's Brewer and D. Rose on the front row. If there's anybody who's going to be aggressive from the outside, we've got them starting on the outside of row number 1. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this plays out. Roselli could really throw a wrench into things here for Brewer, who's looking to maximize here. And if, we talked about Kenny Ko needing to get those 2 points just to stay even. Well, that's assuming that Brewer can hang on to this thing. And, well, look at Matthews with the good move there. The 9 car up to P2 as Dominic Roselli got a little slideways through 1 and 2 that first time. It looks like he's struggling on corners, and he's really jamming up the field. Is there 3 wide Cody Harris moving up from the back of the field?
Yeah, I think Zach Bardsley got the short end of the stick there. Scott Rayom's working up to the high side. They're almost 3 wide in turns 1 and 2 this time. But yeah, I would agree. Dominic Roselli definitely did not get off of the start that he wanted to. Holy cow. I'll have to apologize. My voice is cracking a little bit more than normal, and it's not just because Scott Rayom spun. Jonathan and I are both jointly trying to get over a little bit of sickness, so our vocal ranges are a little unique this evening. But Scott Rayom, Cody Harris, Alan Slight got all screwed up. Oh, Dominic Roselli gets screwed up again. Oh, this is a hell of a heat race right now, Jonathan.
This is about as good as they come, honestly. We've got action at all ends of the field, and we can say we're both fighting through it, and these drivers are fighting it out on the racetrack right now. You can really start to see the cars starting to bounce around. You mentioned those bumps starting to form even when the track is still young. You got to wonder how that's going to change and evolve and worsen over the night here, as we've still got, a practice warm-up session to come and a feature-length event and still one more heat race. But right now, there's just absolutely no stopping Brewer at the front of this field. He's got that 39 dialed in, the Kubota car, the twin car to what his brother runs locally, I believe, at Brockville and around that area in the sportsman division, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, his brother runs that 39 in real life. So, Mike, I got to say, Jonathan, what he's doing up at the front, as we've got this nice battle between Joe Matthews and Dominic Roselli coming to 2 laps to go, he is in championship form. That is a championship winning car kind of move, kind of run out of this 39 car right now. I know it's just a heat race, and we've got a 75 lap feature. We got a long feature to go, but this is the class and the stability that a championship winning car has, in my opinion.
Yeah, interesting there, too. He went up to the high side. With the gap that he has, I wonder if he's starting to experiment with his lines a little bit, take advantage of the clean racetrack behind him as well as the clean racetrack in front of him. Hang on to it, Joe Matthews way up against the wall there. He almost finds himself in trouble as Dominic Roselli slides by, but at the checkered flag, it is, of course, Mike Brewer taking the win over Dominic Roselli, Joe Matthews, and Zach Bardsley with a good run there to finish 4th.
Nice for Zach that he came back to end up getting that bonus point. He got a little screwed up at the start, and fortunately for him, he came back around. So good for the USA 1 car after being off for a few weeks. All right, they're coming to you. We're lining them up, getting ready. You see them getting their cars out on the virtual racetrack here. Heat race number 3. We've been looking forward to bringing you this front row since we did qualifying. We'll start on the inside. Representing Pennsylvania in the Van Sickle Electric number 7, the Ice Chip, A Rose, Anthony Roselli. To his outside, currently tied at the top of the championship standings, representing New York as well, the Handsome Devil Catering and Barbecue, Iceless, number 97. Cody Higbie, 2 wins on the season already for him. Starting 3rd, regular winner of this series representing New York, Traditional Lacrosse and Dig Race Products is Brandon Plank. He goes from 3rd on the inside of another black car. This is the 15S machine, representing Pine Bush, New York. TAD Excavation, Nelson's Bar, Hig Fab Chassis. That's Dylan Smith. From the inside of row number 3, car 883, Sioux Falls, South Dakota's own Bud Molyneux. No sponsorship to him. Ryan Beagle, Ackland Insurance, RK Automotive. The Big Dog will roll from 6th place. And Shotgun on the final heat race of this season. Out of Haverhill, New Hampshire, the River Meadow Campground, Cadwell Logging, Little Greens Cleaning, number 27. In yellow and gray is Sean Green. Back to the front. Jonathan, we called it earlier. We're calling it again. We're going to call it when they start. We're going to call it till they finish. Anthony Roselli and Cody Higbie on the front row is a very exciting way to finish up this heat racing tonight.
Yeah, we haven't seen anybody really play spoiler yet. We'll see what Cody Higbie can do and upset pole sitter Anthony Roselli. Again, valuable points on the board. You win this thing, you get 2 bonus points. You finish 2nd through 4th, you're only getting 1, and that can really affect the championship when we've seen Brewer and Co. already lock up 2 bonus points. Green flag in the air, and Roselli away with it. He's got the most to make up on these guys. And Cody Higbie under fire from Brandon Plank. Looks like he's going to surrender the 2nd spot. Fights back on the outside, but Plank dives it in there in the traditional 77X. And we got a good battle for 4th, behind him with the Big Dog, battling there with Smith. We've got great racing in this heat. Definitely very tight to start the night. And I think something to note here, Joe, that outside line really seemed to cost Cody Higbie. That is something to note for later in the evening. If you want to start on the outside line as a leader, I'd think twice about it.
Yeah, he really did lose out. You're right. He's got Brandon Plank past him already. That is not what Cody Higbie wanted for the championship. It is what Roselli wants. He is 8 points back. He needs Higbie and Brewer to fall back into his grasp a little bit to get a championship run on it tonight. I want to take an opportunity to go on board. Maybe we'll get to see some of these bumps. Why don't we do it with our most improved driver this year? We got Dylan Smith on board, into the corner. Yeah, you can see this thing, Jonathan. You can see how much it bumps. And then, especially into 1 and 2 as well, we're going to watch again and see how much movement goes on in the chassis of this car.
And again, this is something that is pretty realistic to how these modifieds race around Oswego for Super Dirt Week and all the events that they see. Of course, they have, I believe, like 3 days total of events on this racetrack, give or take, maybe a little less now, depending on the program. But ultimately, the amount of bouncing around that goes on and all of the different bumps that form on this racetrack, this is definitely a realistic capture of this facility and how it changes, how it develops, what you deal with when you get a racetrack that is an asphalt surface that has been covered in dirt for the sake of making some awesome big block modified racing.
Honestly, you're talking about awesome modified racing. I have left it on this camera because we have got a hell of a show between Brandon Plank and Cody Higbie right in front of us. We're coming to the white flag. We may as well get out of the car and let Dylan focus here. But what a great race for second we got going on. Oh, man, Dylan Smith just got a little bit down low and missed out on the turn. Ryan Beagle slipped through. But the fight for second probably ending up to the 77 as Anthony Roselli is going to win the heat race over Brandon Plank, Cody Higbie, and Ryan Beagle. Dylan Smith got the clip of the inside wall there at the end. That's something we got to watch out for in the feature race as well, Jonathan. But that was an excellent performance between those two cars on screen for us. And that's going to round out the heat racing. Now we are jumping into a B main. This is a consolation. This is not a elimination consolation. This is going to be setting the start positions for everybody. Positions 13 back to 21, and there are 10 cars lined up for this, so that by the quick math, we are missing Dylan Slider. I think that's the only, nope, we're missing 2 cars, I believe, but nonetheless, we are going to set the starting lineup, and why don't we go ahead and just really quickly walk through the starting grid for the Consi, 10 laps around, from Brian Berger on the pole. To his outside will be Alan Slight in the number 2 machine. Row number 2 on the inside has Dylan Smith in the 15, and to his outside, the 71 of Dylan Slider. Inside row number 3, starting 5th place, Cody Harris in the 20 machine. To his outside, starting 6th, is Sean Green. On the inside of row number 4 will be Deed Meitzler in 7th, and starting 8th is Scott Rayom. Starting 9th, Bud Molyneux in the 883, and going from 10th will be Glenn Sharp in the 99. Jonathan, normally in dirt racing, you only have a B main if you have to eliminate cars. iRacing is a video game. You set things up. It's going to happen the way it happens. It's a video game that's pre-programmed to do something. But what it's doing for us is giving us a little bit more working in of the track and a little bit more racing to watch, which can't be a bad thing, really.
No, it's not a bad thing at all. I know that technically we normally wouldn't have this event with this car count that we have, but hey, you know what? Why not take a little extra time, really figure this out? And you know what? For these guys who are going to start towards the back of the field, this is a great opportunity to kind of learn and establish yourself, establish what you need to do to be competitive here tonight, make some passes, and get yourself a solid top 10 finish. I think we've seen the bottom line is definitely the dominant line thus far, but we also saw Cody Higbie hang up on the outside pretty well. So for me, I'm curious to see if maybe as more guys gravitate towards the inside line and that line gets eaten up a little bit further, maybe, just maybe, do we see that outside line become a little bit more competitive starting in this B main Consi? Oof. Yeah, throws a little hip check on entry there. I'm not sure if he really knew that he was going to be getting in as hard as he did. And I don't think that Slight and or Berger thought that that 15 car was going to sail it in the way he did, but hey, good on Smith. Kind of choked away some bonus points in his performance in the heats after just narrowly clipping the inside wall and then doing it again at the 3-4 side of the racetrack. So single file amongst the front, looks like 4. See a couple of guys starting to jostle for position here as Cody Harris is starting to fall back into the clutches. And there's a good battle for 5th place shaping up, almost 3 wide. Yeah, I kind of said that they were starting to race 3 wide, and then I think a couple of guys had to jump out of the gas, maybe. I couldn't tell who exactly started that up, but it was just a log jam where multiple guys kind of had to lift or maybe check up, and as they checked up, they lost a little pace, and I don't know. It's just one of those scrambles that can happen at the back of the field as it looks like Slider's going to be able to continue on after a brief pit stop. He gets back out onto the racing surface, but he'll be a lap down. And we still got battles here between Rayom and Green. That one a little further back in the field. I believe that's the 4th and 5th spot that they are fighting over right now. Single file amongst the front 3, and you can really see these cars are starting to bounce really aggressively, Joe. I mean, Alice Light's trying. He's closing in on Berger, who slipped by him. And we're now with 2 laps to go, and this one now 1 lap to go, excuse me. White flag waves as they just cross the stripe. There's a chance here. Slight might be able to set something up into 3 and 4. Let's see what he does. He's going to go to the outside, maybe try to look to get to the inside. Crossover move. Is it going to happen? He's to the inside. Wheel to wheel. Berger hangs on to second. That, of course, behind our winner, Dylan Smith, in the 15. He gets the win ahead of Berger. Al Slate ends up in the 3rd spot. But maybe a little learning lesson for us there, Joe. Maybe a couple things that we can learn and figure out going forward. Absolutely. I mean, the championship action alone is going to be so interesting, especially now that we're heading into the feature where it's not as simple as just 4 guys getting points. 1 point separating yourself for winning a heat versus finishing 2nd through 4th. Now there are significant point jumps to keep an eye on, and well, I'm sure we're gonna try some mental math, but by the end of the broadcast, Joe's gonna have the official point standings for you. But I mean, heading into this. Let's do some rough math. Cody Higbie finished what? I think 3rd in his heat, so he only picks up 1. Brewer gets 2, so that puts Brewer up 1 point on Cody Higbie going into this. Kenny Coe won his heat, so he got full 2 points. That's going to put him still 3 back of Mike Brewer, but only 1 back of Cody Higbie. And Anthony Roselli won his heat, so he picked up 2 points. So gained a little on Higbie, but still is trailing Mike Brewer by 8 points going into the feature. Oh, what I messed up.
Gold star for it. The one thing that wasn't quite there was that the point gap between Co and Higbie is 2 points.
2 points. Okay, got it.
That's it. Everything else you did right. So
Got it.
good for you, man.
I'm trying to do my mental math on the fly.
Hey, it worked. I want to take a second to shout out our partner, our sponsor, our show presenter tonight, the Super Dirt Car Series and Super Dirt Week 2025. So, big part of this series is Dean Reynolds. He has been a big part of partnering with us and racing in this series and bringing sponsorship and bringing advice. He is a part of the Dirt Car production and the World Racing Group production, the 53rd running of Super Dirt Week, which will be held at this Clay Palace in the real world, Oswego Speedway, from October 6th to 11th this year. Once again, over $350,000 in prize money will be handed out to the Super Dirt Car Series Big Block Modifieds, the Dirt Car 358s, the Dirt Car Sportsman, and the Dirt Car Pro Stocks. There should be over 300 cars, thousands of fans, and it's going to make racing's biggest party in a week to remember. The Super Dirt Car Series is kicking off at Volusia Speedway Park for the Dirt Car Nationals, February 12th through 15th, with the Big Block Modifieds there to roar down in Florida. We're going to have to wait and see who's going to take home the Big Gator as the Dirt Car Nationals champion. And then in October, you're going to want to head out. You might be able to even see Dean Reynolds at this racetrack in October for Super Dirt Week 2025. A proper honor to represent them tonight here on BRPtv. We also, as always, want to shout out Murder Graphics, MDR Designs, Creative Turnings, 47 Technology, and the Southern Ontario Dirt Show. Longtime, special, and loyal partners of BRPTV's show. We thank them for their support of our entire season. We thank the Super Dirt Car Series for partnering up with us tonight. Want to thank Jonathan for being aside of me the whole way through it. And obviously, Jonathan, also, we got to make a big shout out to Matt DeRitter for this.
Yeah, Matt really is the driving force behind this all. I mean, I just get to sit and, work on the broadcast side of things by simply talking. But, Matt with MRDR iRacing series, it is his brand that really put this thing together and helped launch this into the amazing season that we've had. And you yourself too, Joe. Don't sell yourself short in the amount of broadcasting stuff that you do in terms of triggering all the graphics, getting everything to look the way that it does on this broadcast. I truly am just a voice, and I'll call myself an expert for lack of a better term, but it's nice to be able to do this in the off season and as time is winding down in this warm up session. Shout out to everybody who's watched as well, and if you're thinking, oh well, this is the end, there's not much coming, don't worry. I've actually got a whole bunch of clips that I've been cutting from each race, condensed versions of the race and condensed clips that are going to be hitting the YouTube channel and the social medias coming up following this race. So you can kind of relive it all over again until the next time we get a chance to do, which hopefully isn't too far away, but you never know. You never know what the future is going to hold for this broadcast and this series, Joe.
Yeah, so we've got some stuff we're working on for sure. I do got to give you credit, Jonathan. I appreciate getting called out because I do some work for this on a weekly basis as well. But it's so nice to have somebody aside of me who's got real world experience. And of the two of us, Jonathan, you are the guy with the experience. You're the one who knows how to do a real race broadcast. I have never participated as a true race commentator, so you're the guy bringing the experience. It's always a pleasure to have you here too, and I really like what you said about Matt. Matt does a lot of work for this, so we got to give him a big shout out. We will talk to him at the end of the night as well. He will be joining us at the post race of this show, of this 75 lap feature, which is about to start. Quickly running down your starting order. We got 22 cars out on track. Hell yeah, dude. Kenny Coe is going to start from the pole in the 22C. To his outside going to be Mike Brewer in the 39B. Championship contenders, alongside Anthony Roselli, who will go from third place. Those are three of the four names you really got to watch in this 75 lap show. To his outside, looking to play spoiler, is Gavin Isley in the 18 car. Then you go back to the third row. On the inside is Dominic Roselli, and on the outside, Brandon Plank, two drivers who definitely can win this race as well. Starting 7th is Matt DeRitter in the 03 machine. To his outside, out of Trotman, North Carolina, is Joe Matthews in the 9. Cody Higbie starts 9th, the farthest back of the championship contenders, but not somebody who we're used to seeing stay at the back the whole way through the show. Watch the 97 car. Rounding out the top 10, Jeff Sharp in the 28 machine. 11th on the grid, Zach Bardsley in the USA 1. Then 12th is Ryan Beagle. 13th, Dylan Smith. 14th, Brian Berger. 15th, Al Slight. 16th, Scott Rayone. Sean Green goes 17th. Cody Harris, 18th. Glenn Sharp, 19th. Bud Molyneux, 20th. Dylan Slater, 21st. Dean Meitzler, 22nd. Those are the drivers. The gladiators of battle ready to set sail for 75 laps around Oswego Speedway, and the green flag is out. And let's go racing, boys. Down into turn number 1. A hell of a start for Brewer on the outside. It's all going to fade away. Kenny Coe takes the race lead.
Kenny Coe trying to clear down into 3 and 4. Brewer hanging tough on the outside. Let's see if Coe can slide up or if there's going to be a drive off the corner. Brewer, not initially, but by the end of the straightaway, he almost gets even with Coe. That outside looks like it's got a little bit more drive. And look at this!
Oh!
Anthony Roselli got a little too aggressive, and that's going to jam up the field in a big way. Who's involved?
Oh, no!
We got tires. Is that Cody Higbie who's lost a wheel?
That's Cody Higbie. Yellow flag comes out. Oh my gosh, if that wasn't the most chaotic way to start this show off, I don't know if we could have got any worse than that. 2 of your 4 championship contenders headed to the work area right away. We're going to have to pull it back and see what happened. I'm going to wait. Let's see if we can get on the 7 car and go backwards and see what happened again. Pull the replay back here. All right, Jonathan, let's go back and let's watch this from the start.
So you can see the leaders, the front 2, they're battling side by side, and Anthony Roselli lurking there, showing to the inside. He has it in his mind that he is going to make the dive on Kenny Coe, I think, the whole time. Maybe he overcooks it a little bit. Maybe that's the actual issue, but there was a little bit of a gap there, and he was trying to stick his nose down there, and then the gap closes up. I'm not sure if Kenny Coe even knew that Roselli was there, and those two get together. Roselli, nowhere he can go, almost gets his brother. Then Matt DeRitter narrowly looks like he avoids it. Nowhere to go for Cody Higbie, though. And that just rips the left front wheel off and sends it down the back straightaway. So 2 of our championship hopefuls collide, tangle, find themselves mixed up on lap 2 of 75. I mean, at least it was early, Joe, but I don't know if that's what either driver really wanted to have to face in terms of adversity in this feature.
Yeah, they're lucky that this is the longest feature race of the year, man. And I want to give Matt DeRitter credit because he's got to go to the tail now for being a part of the incident, but he did a pretty bang-up job of avoiding that. I mean, he could have definitely been in a lot worse shape than he was.
Yeah, that was a pretty evasive maneuver, and luckily there was nobody to his immediate outside. There was a bit of a lane there, so he got up there and out of it and probably saved himself a little bit of damage, but either way, still finds himself at the rear of this field after the unfortunate tangling and getting just a little bit of Anthony Roselli there. What do you think, Joe? Do you think that was Kenny not knowing that Anthony was down there, or do you think Anthony was just maybe a little aggressive for, the second lap of this race?
Well, I might have to say Anthony of the 2 of them. I don't put Kenny Coe in blame for that at all. Kenny ran a solid line. I mean, he didn't move up or down the racetrack. He had a very concrete line through that corner. It was just when Roselli tried to get down low, and he kind of stuck his nose into a gap where I think realistically, in the driver's seat, you could see that and go, I don't know if I'm going to make it in there. I probably shouldn't try to squeeze the whole car in. So, I mean, I'm not driving. That's just kind of what I think. I'm anticipating that Anthony Roselli probably at some point there code browned and realized he probably should have waited.
Yeah, right? I mean, at the same time, though, if I'm Anthony, I have the most points to make up of the bunch. I am taking every opportunity that I possibly can to get to this front of the field. as early as I possibly can, especially because we don't know how this track is going to evolve and change and what kind of passing opportunities are going to exist later in the night. But he certainly has just made him very hard on himself. And now look at the kind of spoiler that I pointed out earlier in the night. Gavin Isley. I said he needed the leaders to tangle and have trouble in front of him to get himself in the pit championship battle. Well, that's 2 of 4 with the big issue so far. Maybe Gavin will get lucky and find himself at least battling for a race win, if not more, depending on how this goes, as Kenny Coe is through to the lead. Here comes Isley to the inside of Brewer. Dominic Roselli hanging tough on the outside. Brandon Plank and Joe Matthews racing hard for the last spot in the top 5 there, as I saw one car get up on the outside, but I think we're going to stay clean and green for now as Isley dives back underneath Brewer, Joe.
Yep, Isley still going after him for second place right here. And I completely agree with what you said about Anthony Roselli, with him being the furthest out of the guys who can technically still win the championship. He needed to do something aggressive. He needs to make his presence known. Unfortunately for him, with Kenny Coe and Mike Brewer in positions 1 and 2, winning the race doesn't even win him the championship. He needed those 2 guys to also be in that crash to fall backwards, and him to not be, for that to actually work out. So I totally agree with you, and I completely respect that Anthony Roselli really was in a tough spot. He needed to do something big to make stuff work out. Holy cow. Oh, we got one going to the inside wall. Dylan Slider. Hard contact with the inside wall. Turn number 3, we stay green. And he's going to fall back to the tail end of the field. And I wanted to give this guy credit, but he just hit the wall. Zachary Bardsley going to bring out the yellow. He's got the front end knocked out of this car. He had such a good run going inside the top 10 there, Jonathan. And the USA 1's going to bring our second caution out of the night. Tough break for him.
Didn't even get a chance for the announcer jinx, Joe. That's a real tough break for Bardsley. Let's see here. He's up on the extreme outside of this racetrack. And, well, not the extreme outside, but he's pushing up towards that cushion. And right here, contact with the outside wall, and it's just almost impossible for him to get up and off of it. In fact, goes for a little bit of a wall ride there. And we don't see the full glitch, Joe, that I don't know if you want to break that down, because that almost could have been an issue from what I understand. Based on where Bardsley hit that wall. But there is a little bit of a glitch where you can get almost sucked out of the racetrack if you hit the wall on that outside, correct?
Yes, so there's something up with this racetrack in iRacing, and it's just a little glitch of this track being new. And what happens in 2 and 4, allegedly, is when you get sucked into the wall, if you hit the wall, it's possible for you as your car in the game to fall out of the track, which means that basically the game doesn't realize you're on the track anymore. And in iRacing, there is an immediate reset that if it doesn't sense your car on the racetrack, it puts you in the pit lane, as if you went back to the garage. So Zach Bardsley did not do that, even though he was in turn 4, which is one of the problem spots for this racetrack in the game. So, good grace for him. Unfortunately, he had to tow anyway, so it really is kind of a moot point at this point. But he is back out on the racetrack. He is on the lead lap, and hopefully he can regain some of that track position that he had going into it, Jonathan, because he really did have a good spot, and he's not a driver that we're necessarily used to seeing at the front end of the grid all the time.
No, and we'll see how he can rebound here. We've seen some of the drivers who were involved in that lap 2 incident struggle. Matt DeRitter still towards the back of the field. I think Anthony Roselli and Cody Higbie have both picked up a couple spots since they've restarted on that lap 2 incident. We get another restart here, and it's Kenny Coe back to the gas first. He'll clear Brewer down into 1 and 2. Here comes Isley on the bottom side of the racetrack. He's going to try and take that second spot away from championship hopeful Mike Brewer. Oh, wow, look at them bouncing around. It's almost like Supercross down the back straightaway.
I was going to say, it looks like a nightclub on the back stretch, everybody jumping up and down like that. I think the next time we go through this camera angle, I'm gonna quote a song here. It's going to be the, oh, never mind. they don't want me to sing. They don't want me to sing. We got to caution Anthony Roselli involved in a second one tonight. Uh-oh, that's not what he needs at all for his championship hopes.
No, everything has kind of gone completely sideways and wrong for Anthony Roselli here. Let's see what happens towards the back of the field.
Comes over those bumps. Oh, hip check to hip check.
Yeah, he's just a bystander there. He's getting ready to go 3 wide, and Cody Harris and Dylan Smith bounce off of each other, and ooh.
Jonathan, I think it happened.
Was that the glitch?
I think that's the glitch. Because there's no reason for that to have happened. There's just no reason.
No, unless he broke something on that initial contact and immediately felt it and parked it.
But he didn't.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't... Wow. What a shame for Anthony Roselli. I mean, he was fast throughout the night, and he had a real shot at it. He needed some help championship-wise, but 9 laps into this one, everything that could go wrong has gone wrong for one of our championship hopefuls. And Anthony Roselli finds himself pit side. And we'll see. With Gavin Isley running third, I mean, maybe Gavin can get up there and break into the top 4 in points when it's all said and done.
Yeah, and I want to shout out that he had, I believe, so all the drivers have a fast repair in this series. They have one basically get out of jail free card where they can come into the pits and get their car completely fixed up, Scott brand new, like fresh out of the trailer. He used it up on lap number 1. So he is stuck getting that repair done on the pit lane. He is actually came back out on the track, so it mustn't have been too much damage to the car, but he had to wait on it, and he does not have that lifeline of the fast repair anymore. So if anything happens again, that 7 car is not in good shape. It's a tough break for him.
Yeah, but like I say, everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong, but we still got a lot of time left in this race. And I think Anthony Roselli is still on the lead lap because we don't count laps under yellow. So he should still be able to pass cars and maybe get back in this thing, as crazy as that is to say.
I think he's actually 1 lap down, Jonathan, because he didn't get to finish that lap that we did finish when he crashed. So he scored his 1 lap down on my timing and scoring. But if we get another yellow, which, by the way things are going right now, we're going to get another yellow at some point, he'll be able to get that lap back. So there's a hell of a race going on in the middle of the pack right now. Trying to keep up with everything. This restart's been chaotic. We're watching Cody Higbie work his way back up into 11th spot there. He's going to try to go for Sean Green the next time by to get himself back in the top 10, which is definitely what Cody Higbie needs to do, and something we could expect out of Cody to rebound from the tail of the field.
You know, you can't count this guy out. We're 12 laps in. It's been 10 laps since he found himself in that incident, having the left front ripped off, having to use a fast repair in the early portions of this event, and he's already finding himself back up towards the top 10, and far from out of this, Joe. I mean, he's going to have to... Ooh, we got 1 car. Is that Green that's up there?
Yep.
I think that was Sean Green that has parked it way up against the outside wall, and he'll bring out another yellow, and there's the yellow that Anthony Roselli needs.
That's right. Anthony Roselli should be able to get a free pass back to the lead lap from this. We're going to pull the replay here. Let's see what happened again with that 27 car. Sean Green was just in the inside of the top 10, so that's actually going to also gift, whatever word you want to use, Cody Higbie. Oh man, that thing looks like a mechanical failure.
I was going to say, did the bumps cause that? I mean, that almost looked like he was going over the bumps and maybe like a right rear shock or something failed on that race car. I'd have to see it again specifically to see. I don't know, Joe, or even maybe if you can go on, because he's kind of sideways here. Let's see if he puts any input into the wheel.
Oh,
he caught the wall.
Yeah, did you see that little kick of the wall that came out?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't know that was a thing. I don't know if Sean Green knew that was a thing.
Well, that's the thing of having such a new facility to the game, too. Like, a lot of these guys haven't turned enough laps to even realize some of the things that are in this racetrack just waiting to jump out and grab you at any given time. So,
yeah.
For what has been a relatively calm season and league all year, We have had an eventful 13 laps to start this one in terms of yellow flags.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And with the caution laps not counting, this is the longest race of the season, but it's definitely going to be the longest race of the season. So, which is fine. These guys, maybe they just don't want to quit. Maybe they just don't want it to be over, Jonathan. They just want to enjoy it as long as they can. We're going to go with that. That's what's happening right now. Green flag's back out.
This time Brewer gets to the inside of Coe ever so slightly and is able to maintain that inside position and avoid opening the door up for Gavin Isley. Isley's been fast on the bottom side. He's back there again trying to challenge Brewer for that second spot. Coe had to kind of check up there. Either that or Brewer and Isley both got runs on him. And here comes Brewer with a head of steam. He'll dive to the inside of Coe, and this could be another three-wide battle. Gavin Isley got to be careful. Got to remember what just happened to Anthony Roselli only about 13 laps ago.
Yep, we got to watch out for what happened to Roselli. Got to watch out for what happened to Sean Green. We got a lot of drive. You know what? Holy cow! How can we call this out? Scott Rayholm is up into 6th, fighting with Joe Matthews. They're 6th and 7th. Those two guys, Joe had a good start to this night. Scott Rayholm, I believe he's done a hell of a job to get up to the front of the field here. Good run for that 4 car and the 9 car as well. It's the front battle still going on pretty strong. They are making it difficult for Cody Higbie to get around and get moving towards the front here.
Yeah, Higbie has both lanes blocked in front of him. He's looking to be committed to the outside. He's thinking about the middle groove between Matthews and Rayholm. Brandon Plank lurking back there as well. The big dog showing up tonight. He's up inside the top 5. Dominic Roselli as well. But a lot of guys that maybe have taken advantage of some of the chaos that we've had in this event and have found themselves in a good position for a strong finish on this final points night of the year. Kenny Coe, meanwhile, still leading that top side and leading this race. Brewer dives to the inside. It looks like Brewer's switching back and forth. He'll go to the high side through 3 and 4, but then he goes to the bottom side. Yes, he goes to the bottom side in 3 and 4, the high side 1 and 2, trying to find something. And he is closing ever so slightly on Coe, it looks like.
He's not as close as he was before, but he is closing, I think. Brewer, very early in the night, like even into his heat race, was running that line where he was going in deep and then diamonding back off the bottom of turns 2 and 4. Now you see them kind of staying religious to the outside, and Gavin Isley has been staying on the bottom the entire time, but he hasn't fallen back. And I wonder about that, Jonathan, because, the bottom got worked in a while ago, but he hasn't lost any ground with these guys going up to the top. What do you think that's all about?
I think it's just shorter way around this place, I don't think the drive off the corner with the lack of banking, we always talk about getting the run down the hill at a lot of racetracks, right? And there is enough banking up there. There is a bit of a hill you can drive down here at Oswego, but it's not to the same degree as some of the other racetracks that we've seen on the schedule this year. So I think that shorter distance, you see it in the middle of the corner especially, where Isley is really able to close in on those top 2. Doesn't quite get the drive off, but neither do the guys he's chasing. There's just not the same drive off that exists on the top side of the racetrack, and I think that's why you haven't seen some of the guys who have gone to the high side be as aggressive and be as able to make the moves. You can see right here, that's where Gavin is so good. Just that center of the corner, he can really just kind of slide through, while Brewer's more aggressive line, he has to kind of pedal it through the middle of the corner and then try to get the drive off. And there's not an immense amount of drive off. That's the big thing I'm seeing, Joe.
Yeah, either side of the track. And I think that might be what's going into the top side, why the top side isn't really pushing these guys along as much as the bottom is, because, I'm calling it out, like, the bottom side is the shorter way around. And there was grip down there, so at the beginning of the night, obviously, we were going to go to the bottom. But once it started getting worked in, it was like, go up to the top, there's grip up there. But we've basically got no extra grip up there compared to the time you save by going down low, which means, Gavin Isley didn't have to go to the top. Now, obviously, at this point, he is at the top, so I think he might have had to give up on what he was doing previously to stay in that fight, which once again, big props to Gavin Isley, a very versatile driver. We call him the catfish because of how low he can go in the corners, but he can also get up to the top. he can rip a lip. And he is he's one of the best drivers at reading a racetrack. And right now he's going to have to read a way around Mike Brewer. Got a little bit of contact into 3 and 4 with the wall. Stunted his run, and Gavin Isley to second.
Excellent maneuver there. Way to take advantage of the mistake from Brewer. And if you're Brewer, that's the last thing you want to do is be making mistakes at this point in the race. Track position, we've seen it all season long, has been so incredibly invaluable. And look at Dominic Roselli and Ryan Beagle right there in this fight as well. And Brewer, he has suddenly found himself in a bit of a hurricane here, right in the eye of the storm. And that is not where you want to be when Kenny Coe is driving away from you at your front windshield.
Yeah, we should note, so first place is going to get 40 points. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
My word. It has happened again. Trouble for a championship contender. I mentioned the eye of the storm, and Brewer was in the center of it, and he just found himself ping-ponged by 2 guys racing inside the top 5 hard for position. And wow, oh wow, what are we going to have here? How is this going to play out? I mean, Joe, I think I might be speechless.
I am speechless. I can't believe that just happened. So we're going to go back and check the replay again. Unfortunately, the replay pulls us back a little bit further, so we're going to have to come through 3 and 4 and then go down the front stretch, and then turn 1 is going to be what that's the money shot. That's what you're going to want to see.
I'm almost glad we are backed up as far as you can, because that's where you can really see. This is about the time where I'm talking about the eye of the storm developing, and man, did I call my shot here. You got Beagle and Dominic Roselli racing hard for the 4th position. Beagle goes up the racetrack. Dominic comes down a little bit. They make contact, and I think that upsets Dominic just enough that he can't make the corner the way he was anticipating. He slides up into Brewer, takes him out, catches the wall a little bit himself, and there's nowhere for Brandon Plank to go. He T-bones that 39 car, and look who suddenly has probably got himself back in the top 5 thanks to all these incidents. None other than Cody Higbie.
Yeah, I'd rather have trouble at the start than at the end. That little love tap there from Brian Berger, just a little salt on the wound for the 39B car, who now, as the rest of the field gets ready for a restart, he sits on the pit lane. He should be able to get a fast repair in that thing and get back out on the racetrack. So I believe he's going to be on the lead lap when he returns. We've got 20 cars on the track. Zach Bardsley and Bud Molyneux have pulled off and called it a night. But Mike Brewer, here he comes back. Jonathan, I'm going to make a grave statement. He's probably a little unhappy.
Maybe. Just a little bit. I mean, what's there to be upset about, Joe? I mean, it's the championship night. You're in good position to maybe walk away with this thing. And, your night suddenly got much, much harder in this final 40-some-odd laps.
Yeah. And I will, also, you mentioned that Cody Higbie has been granted back into the top 5. Dominic Roselli got an end-of-line penalty. Something happened to Matt DeRitter there. I think Matt DeRitter fell out of the racetrack because he was running and then he was on the pit lane. So I think Matt DeRitter has seen that issue, that glitch come out in a bad way. Gavin Isley to the race lead, car 18, and Cody Higbie was granted an extra spot by Dominic Roselli having that end-of-line penalty. Kenny Coe, I think right now, as it stands, they tie in the championship. So we're going to have to figure out what the tiebreaker is. Kenny Coe needs to win this race. Honestly, Jonathan, Kenny Coe needs to win this race.
That's about as simple as the math can get right now. I think with Cody running where he is running, of course, didn't get that extra bonus point, didn't win, but didn't really give up enough in terms of the bonus point structure for the heats that he has to panic or worry. But if you're Kenny Coe, I mean, you've got to find a way back by Gavin Isley. We talked about, you know what? I'm just going to give myself a little pat on the back at the almost halfway point of this race, Joe. Did I not say that Gavin Isley is going to play spoiler here tonight?
You did.
He's in great spot to do it.
Yeah, he's leading. We are coming up on halfway, and Gavin Isley is the leader of this race. I also want to jump back to third place here. I think Dean Meitzler's having some issues. Yeah, Dean Meitzler's having some issues. We got a yellow coming out.
Brewer's got I think Brewer just spun to avoid further contact. I don't think he got any major damage in that, but that's basically going to reset any progress he may have made.
Yep.
As you can see, Meitzler's got a lot of damage there.
Meitzler's, yeah.
Wow. What a night.
Yeah, we'll pull the replay back on this one again. Ryan Beagle, I want to talk about him when we get back to the restart. But first, we'll talk about this. This is Dean Meitzler. He's behind Dylan Slider. Sean Green behind him. And they're going to come into turn number 1. He just gets it a little wrong himself. He just runs up the wall on his own.
Yeah, it looks like he was kind of maybe almost going to send maybe a bit of like a flea flicker or something, maybe a little quick right-left to set the corner, set the car up, and then catches the wall, and then as he tries to merge back down, gets a piece of, I believe that was the 99 of Sharp there, and you can see Brewer just spins to avoid any further contact and damage to that race car, as he's not really made up the ground that he needs to get back in this one.
No, yeah, that's great analysis there, Jonathan, of what happened, and Dean Meitzler sitting on the pit lane right now, so I think he has his fast repair left, so he should be able to get back out without any worries. Stay on the lead lap. Matt DeRitter rejoined the racetrack. He's 5 laps down. So with Dean Meitzler, I think we'll be 19 on the lead lap. Mike Brewer is in the pits. Actually, you know what? This might not be good for Mike Brewer. I don't think he has. I think he used his fast repair already. He might be in for some damage repair here.
Yeah, tough to say. I mean, didn't look like he got any, but you never know. There does look like maybe some sheet metal's bent on that machine, so tough night getting tougher for a championship hopeful. And meanwhile, Kenny Coe, he's got another shot at life here in terms of not letting Gavin Isley get the best of him on this restart, but Isley is the control car, and he's going to fire it, and Coe is going to have to do his best to anticipate and stay with and hopefully make the pass back on Gavin Isley as the green flag waves once again. Isley turns him loose off of 4, and he's clear of Kenny Coe. And there is that third-place driver, Ryan Beagle, that you talked about and you mentioned earlier, Joe. What a night for the big dog, a former champion of this series.
Yeah, he won the championship a year where we had long races. This season has been noticeably shorter. We're yellow again. I think. Why are we yellow? Why are we yellow again?
I'm trying to see. I don't know.
I might have been.
Brewer's back in again.
Where are we going, Mike? I think this is going to be a result of Mike Brewer coming out of the pits, and iRacing gets a little bit squirrely when that happens. Let me see. No, I don't know what this is for. I guess we'll find out. Cody Harris is a little bit sideways there. Let's see if this translates.
Yeah, it looks like Dominic Roselli. Oh, Matt DeRitter's in it.
Yep, Matt DeRitter is in the wall.
Oh, and Brewer's going to drive right into Roselli, not realizing his rate of speed had slowed. Oh, yeah, that was...
I guess that's what the yellow's for.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Another little jingle at the back of the pack.
Yep, and that's actually going to be good for Mike Brewer, so he gets to spend more time in the pit lane getting those optional repairs fixed, get the car back in shape. I want to say, for Ryan Beagle, before a caution interrupts us again, he won the championship in a year where we had significantly longer races on average for these guys to run, Jonathan. And tonight is one of those longer races. I mean, 75-lap race around a track this big is something 2 years ago we did basically every week. Now, this is the first time this season we're doing this. So I think this is kind of the form of a race that Mr. Beagle works well in. And I think that's why he won the championship the year he did. And that might have been why he struggled a little bit this year. It's just the sort of shootout, sprint race kind of vibe wasn't matching his driving style. But tonight is, and he is in third place.
Are we single file for this restart?
We're supposed to be. I'm glad you're calling that out. We're supposed to be single file. And Kenny Coe, that wasn't quite single file.
Well, I don't want to be a tattletale here or anything, but to me, if you got two cars not single file coming to the green, that second place driver could be subject to penalty. I don't know if that's a a thing that's going to get called out in the driver's chat, and maybe race director Matt DeRitter's going to have to make a call on. But I wouldn't have chanced that if I was Kenny Coe. I would have fallen in line and at least done what I needed to do.
Yeah, that was that wasn't kosher. So we'll see what happens with Kenny Coe there. But I don't know if they're going to do anything on the fly with that. Shout out Dylan Smith up to 6th. Scott Rayom in 5th place. Great runs for those guys going strong. We've passed halfway now, so we are on a countdown. 40 laps into this race, 35 to go for the 75-lap feature to end off this season. Cody Higbie is kind of stalled out. Do you think that's because of the track, or do you think he's waiting out now, Jonathan? Do you think he's just waiting for the time?
It's hard to say, Joe. I mean, a lot of the track position he has gained has been through incident. So for me, I'm just sitting here and thinking, if I'm Cody, you may as well just wait it out. And maybe if you got anything left in the tank with 20 to go, you can turn up the wick. But I think based on rough math, he's in good position anyway. So what really is the point in getting up there and mixing it up and potentially getting yourself in trouble just to try to go and get on a podium if you don't need to do it to win this title?
That's true. But right now, Kenny Coe and Cody Higbie tied. And I don't know what the tiebreaker will be, because if they finish like this, they both got 2 wins. So I think second places might be the second tiebreaker. And let me check who would get that.
Yeah, you do some math on that. We'll keep an eye on this battle. Oh, that was quick. I like it.
Oh, damn. Dude, well, neither of them have ever finished second. And they both finished third. They both finished third once.
So
and
fourth place
is it would go to it would go to Kenny Coe. He's got 2 4th-place finishes this season. That's
okay,
wild.
but wait. Oh, well, let me throw some more math at you here. Technically, assuming that they finish where they're going to finish, Cody Higbie caught the inside barrier there. That could have been a big moment for the 97 in his championship. But assuming they finish where they are, that gives Kenny Coe a 2nd place.
Oh,
so
my gosh.
Technically, he wouldn't need to go back to 4th. We wouldn't need to go back to 4th. That should do it. As long as Kenny can finish where he's finishing, Cody's going to need to get by Beagle to win this title outright.
Yeah. I'm glad you caught that. That was good catch. I'm looking at my scorecard, and neither of them have finished second to this point in the season, but if they finish where they are, yeah, Kenny Coe's going to get that title. So, Cody Higbee's got to move, and the yellow flag's going to come out to give him a little bit of a break here in the action. Sean Green and Brian Berger bringing us a yellow flag here. Contact between those 2 drivers is going to be the cause of this yellow. We'll get a replay back. But maybe Cody's just waiting, because the only thing he's really doing is putting himself in harm's way of Dylan Smith at this time. Dylan's running well. So that's going to be, you got to watch that 15S car. And here's your yellow flag. Sean Green got pulled out by Alan Slight. Anthony Roselli's going to get a piece. Actually, Brian Berger ran in the wall on his own when he saw that crash ahead of him. Cody Harris gets a nice little love tap into the 60 car. This is what caused this yellow flag, Jonathan.
Yeah, this is, we thought that this racetrack was going to eat up some cars and the bounces and the bumps and everything else. That would be maybe what you need to watch for tonight. But we're seeing that it doesn't matter what track conditions are. This whole event has been mired with chaos and mistakes made and a lot of overdriving, too. It seems like I think is what's resulting in these issues. Now, we've got ourselves another restart here, Joe. Kenny Coe needs to get forward 1 spot, and he only has 1 spot to work with, whereas Cody Higbee's got a couple of spots. So even if Kenny gets back to the lead, if Cody can get to 2nd, I don't know what the math would be on that, but I feel like that might be enough to put them back in at least a tie, if not give Cody the championship, regardless of what Kenny does.
But also consider Cody has more room to fall backwards.
That's true, too.
Because, that's being, objective about what's going on the racetrack. Like, Kenny Coe is running better unless something crazy happens, he's not going to fall into the clutches of Scott Rayom and Dylan Smith. Cody Higbie could. Now, look at this. Off that restart, that whole conversation we had is a, oh my God.
Oh my God, massive hit.
Holy cow, that was Dominic Roselli. We didn't even get to pull up the ticker. The yellow flag comes back out. Wow, that was a hard lick for the 80 car.
Even in the virtual world, that'll take your breath away. That was a massive crash way in the back of the field in this one.
Yeah.
We're going to see, I think, Dominic Roselli try to maybe apply for his pilot's license here.
That's, yeah, he was airborne. And I'll say, Brandon Plank and Alan Slight is where this starts.
Yep.
Man. You know, honestly, Jonathan, this is going to sound kind of goofy to some people, but, I mean, realistically speaking, with these guys, when they do this, when they play iRacing, they're running with a racing simulator wheel, and the thing's got force feedback, and some of these guys run, you know, if it's belt-driven and it's got a high feedback rating, you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. You can genuinely hurt yourself with something like that.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we see drivers all the time in different racing series break wrists or thumbs or whatever else, and, you know, the games have developed and the feedback is as real as they can possibly get it to this point where now it's borderline dangerous. There's some physicality to this if you're not careful. Who else needs to be careful is Al Slate. He is not making friends tonight.
No.
He just ran over Brandon Plank. He got somebody else just a caution or two before that. Mm-hmm. That 2-car, good guy. But right now, I don't know, he's finding himself in a lot of different wrongdoings.
Yeah, that's tough for Al, too. He's a longtime competitor of this series, a very loyal driver to this series. He even sponsored one of the races back at the beginning of the season at Lernerville. So, 2-car, just kind of got to listen to Dean Reynolds. I saw Dean Reynolds in the chat. Unfortunately, we couldn't have Dirt Car Dean out on the track with us tonight, but he's here with us watching the stream. He said, holy crap, it's a 75-lap race, guys. Be patient. And maybe Al needs to be a little patient. And, yeah, these guys in the mid-pack maybe need to listen to Dean Reynolds there a little bit. We got way too much time left in this race to be crashing. Green flag's back out. We'll take a couple more laps off of it and see what we get.
Gavin Isley with a great jump. He's safely ahead of this field right now. Down into 1 and 2. Kenny Coe doing a good job hanging on to that second spot. Lurking there is the big dog, Ryan Beagle. You know, we were talking a little bit before that last caution, Joe, about Cody Higbie having more, positions that he can lose. And I think that's what we're seeing is the performance of that 97 car is just not quite there tonight. He's not far off, and he's good enough to be in 4th place right now, but he is not, although now he's in 3rd because I think the big dog, he's still there. I'm like, did Ryan Beagle time out? Did he get that outside? No, there he is. He's back at it. I was worried for a second there, Joe, that we may have lost the big dog.
No, I agree. He's having connection issues. Dylan Slider just got into the wall. This is going to be a mess. We'll keep an eye on this. What I wanted to call out, too, on Cody Higbie, he made that pass for 3rd, and then Dominic Roselli crashed, and we negated it. So he had to fall back into 4th place, and then off of the restart, he was a single-file restart. And now Cody Higbie's having...
No. Has Cody done the glitch?
You know what? We don't usually do this here on BRPtv. I know we're under green, but we've got to go back. We've got to look and see what happened to the number 97 car. So here you go.
He's doing a slider on Beagle. And yeah, that's exactly, I think, what happened, Joe, is he got in that outside wall in just the wrong spot. And that registered that his race car was not on the facility anymore. And wow. What else could go wrong for a championship contender tonight?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that scares me now. When I talked to the guys in this race before the program, and I tested out this track before the race, I thought that the problem spot in the corners for falling out of the racetrack was like further into the turn. But it's right in the middle of the corners. It's right where these guys are using the wall as a berm. I mean, every single car on the racetrack right now could very easily do the exact same thing that Cody Higbie just did. I think Glenn Sharp just did.
Man, if I'm Kenny Coe, I don't know if he's got any family or friends watching, somebody who's under the same roof as him who can get a message to him, but I am telling him, bottom, 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 for the love of God, stay on the bottom of this racetrack, because what is the sense now? You are so far ahead of everybody else who you are fighting in this championship. Do not get towards that outside wall unless you absolutely have to, and he really doesn't have any reason to right now, Joe. I mean, I am just beside myself, and you know who's got to be licking his chops, and is Gavin Isley. We talked about how far out of the points battle he was, but if you're going to have a Cody Higbie finish, what's he probably going to end up? Like 17th, 18th, 19th?
Yeah, that's what he's looking at.
Right? Anthony Roselli is back there. Most of the guys that he had to make up points on have had issues tonight. Sure, it's not going to be enough for a championship, but when it's all said and done, Gavin Isley might be one of our podium championship finalists in a year where the Catfish has been awfully quiet. I am beside myself, Joe. And you know, how about your most
my gosh.
Oh, no! I was literally just about to say he hangs on to it. Joe, this is just insane. I was just going to say, how about your most improved driver right now? Dylan Smith is sitting on the podium with Jeff Sharp in hot pursuit, literally.
Well,
they just collided, and I don't have any words, Joe.
He is in. He's. Yes. First off, yes. I don't even know how to answer the question. No, Dylan Smith, absolutely. A lot of this has come into his hands, though. I mean, he's yet to hit that spot on the wall where he falls out of the racetrack. That's pretty much the only reason he's in the top 3 at this point, because so many guys have done that to this point, and man, and he just runs into the wall. He just says, "Screw it, let's go for it." Oh, there's Joe Matthews back there trying to do the same thing.
Is in it.
That's crazy.
Joe, this is like the equivalent of like NASCAR making Talladega their championship race. Like anything that could go wrong just might for any of these front runners, and we have just basically put this entire field in a blender on the biggest stage of the season. Yeah, and I got to give this guy a huge shout out too. Jeff Sharp has never this season been in 4th place. He's got a hell of a run tonight too. Good for him. Good for Jeff Sharp. I think he's been in every race this season. He's a longtime competitor to this series. I'm not supposed to be biased in the booth. I really hope this sticks for Jeff Sharp. I really hope he gets a good finish out of this one. But yeah, I mean, they're falling like crazy, and that's really all that's made the difference at this point. All the racing, all the whatever, all the strategy. Kenny Coe, he's sitting pretty right now at the championship, and the only reason he's sitting like that is because we've just had a mess of a race of these guys falling into this issue, or like Dominic Roselli's been in 3 crashes. Mike Brewer got into some accidents. Anthony Roselli, too. I mean, if you take Cody Higbie's poor luck out of it, Cody Higbie's definitely fighting hard with Kenny Coe for this title. But the other 2 guys, I mean, Kenny Coe was granted at least 2nd in this championship so far. Yeah, and I mean, Brewer's got damage, but he's at least still on the lead lap. He's struggling back in 14th right now, but like, let's say we get one more big one or something happens. I mean, he could. It's not insane to say that with 10 laps to go, Brewer has a chance to at least get back in this fight somewhat. And you know, you can say what you want about the glitch in the game, and obviously what a shame for Cody Higbie, but all of these drivers are racing on the same racetrack. They all have that same chance of that happening to them. And so, you know, while it's not necessarily fair, you know, all is fair in love and motorsports. So, well, I also have to say to that point as well, Jonathan, to build off of it, these guys discussed this before the race. I mean, they all knew about this issue, this potential glitch. So there's a point where you have to say, like, honest, and this is terrible. Oh my God! Speaking of terrible, that's going to be a yellow. That's going to be a yellow. And DeRitter. Yeah, they just slid into the wall. You have to say at some point. You just have to say, all of these guys came into this race knowing what could happen, and some of them have avoided it, and some of them have not. Yellow flag comes out for something unrelated to that
issue, though. This is Matt DeRitter and Alan Slight simultaneously getting a little bit too ambitious going into turn number 1, and both of them sliding up out of the racetrack. This is them in turn number 3. Nope, this is turn 1, sorry. That's the crash.
Yeah, both guys just literally... Slate was just right in the tire tracks there. Synchronized wall slams, basically, there. And, yeah, I think both of those guys may have been a lap down. I'm not sure if that's going to affect Brewer or not. We'll see. But with 8 laps to go, he's going to need a miracle here to get back in the title battle. But man, oh man, if it could happen, it has in this finale of the MRDR iRacing series. Joe, I'm speechless. And we still have 8 laps to go on a very treacherous racetrack where Kenny Ko, get off that wall, brother. Jeez. I don't know if you could time out or get off the racetrack under yellow, but I wouldn't be testing my boundaries.
No, I think if I had seen enough or know enough, there's also no way that these drivers, they have voice chats going. They're in Discord together. The voice chat of the iRacing session itself, he's got to know what happened. I don't care anymore. Bottom side. I'm just running the bottom. I don't care anymore. I don't want to get sucked up into out of the racetrack. I'd rather take 4th place than done. So, yeah.
We're coming back to green here, Joe, and we got to talk a little bit about Kenny Ko. Remember that he was out of it. He had a struggle in I believe race 6, maybe race 5, and then strung together a couple great finishes to put himself in championship position once again. But I mean, he's going to try to go for it here and maybe steal the lead back from Gavin Isley, maybe go and try to win this thing outright. But got to give a lot of props and a lot of credit to Kenny Ko for the way he fought back in the second half of this season to be in this position and to be somebody who can walk away with the championship after what's going to be 75 laps of chaos.
Potentially, yes. Hey, remember, anything can happen. We got 6 laps. Anything can happen. But it was definitely, I think for me, the turnaround was his mentality and his, domination at Lanier last week. Really got him back in the fight for the championship, and especially brought him some momentum and confidence that he's using to his advantage here tonight. Although, maybe you're getting a little... Oh, no!
No!
Oh, my gosh!
No! Oh, no! What has happened?
Oh, my goodness.
He had it in the bag!
Is this a car racing series, or is this a circus? This is nuts.
I have never been a part of anything in the real racing world or the virtual world where every single one of our championship hopefuls has found themselves in one way or another on the wrong end of contact, on the wrong end of cautions, on the wrong end of glitches, and Kenny just, I don't have an explanation. Dylan Smith doesn't look like he did anything wrong. He just was minding his own on the inside, and Kenny, what do you... I have no words, Joe. I want to watch this again. So he gets up on that high side. He gets real sideways here. It's almost like he's lost control of the car already. And maybe he just thought he had more room to save it.
He looked like he over-rotated. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But he also, he came down like he was going to dime into the corner. And Dylan Smith was just there. Dylan ran the bottom, so he caught up in the middle of the corner. And then by the time Kenny slid down, Dylan was there. But we were too bunched up from these guys coming off of a restart to think you had enough room for that. Really, don't you think? There's no way you have enough space for that, right?
That's why I think when you say he over-rotated, I really think that he truly just, I think, lost control of the car and had to make a big move to the bottom to save it. Probably would have, except for Dylan Smith was there, and he just drove across his nose. Like, I don't know. We said to just keep it to the bottom side of the racetrack, and, well, how does this put Brewer back in the title contention?
No.
Or is it Co?
That's my best guess.
We're gonna have burning up some calculators here. Let's just get to the end of this race and enjoy the finish of this one because we got a barn burner at the front. Gavin
Yeah.
Isley leads. Dylan Smith trying to go out with one huge statement here. He has a shot at it. Scott Rayome trying to get up on the podium. He's battling with Jeff Sharp, and everybody's chasing Gavin Isley with 4 laps to go in the MRDR iRacing Series season.
Well, Gavin Isley leads Dylan Smith. We've got 11 cars on the lead lap. Sean Green, Matt DeRitter, Dominic Roselli, Glenn Sharp, Cody Higbie out there running laps that they're lapped cars. But we have lost Mike Brewer. We've lost Al Slight. We've lost Anthony Roselli, Dean Meitzler, Bud Molyneux, and Zach Bardsley in this race tonight. We got a battle coming on. Strong at the end of this one. Dylan Smith and Gavin Isley. Who would have thought it'd be down to these two drivers? Scott Rayome and Jeff Sharp side by side for third. Behind him, Jonathan, the white flag is coming. The last lap of the season. I'm going to let you bring us home.
Final time around Oswego here in the virtual world. And we've got Smith pressuring Isley. Rayome and Sharp side by side for the third spot. Final spot on the final podium of the season. Out of the final corner, it's all the catfish. Gavin Isley is going to bring it home. He wins it ahead of Dylan Smith. And it looks like Jeff Sharp's going to hang on for the final spot on the podium here tonight in what was a wild 75 laps at Oswego. Gavin Isley takes the final checker of the year. Joe's going to do some points tallying. We're going to catch up with our podium, and we'll crown a champion in a second here, unless Joe's got the math ready. But I think, I don't want to speculate, but I think it's Kenny Coe, but we'll see.
I believe you're right about that. I believe it's Kenny Coe. We're gonna give these guys a second just to come to a stop. There's some respectful engine revs from the number 4 machine of Scott Rayome as the top 3 come to a halt there. I'm gonna pause it. We're gonna give these guys a quick second to get into shape. I think we don't even have Jeff Sharp in the Discord. It appears we don't have Gavin Isley either. So we're going to try to call them in and see if we can get them on for their post-race interviews.
Yeah, we got Isley. He's down in the waiting room. We're going to call him in
Okay, good.
in a second here. And yeah, you're going to try to wrangle up Jeff Sharp. But let's see if we can get our winner in and connected, Gavin Isley, who came into this as kind of dare I say an afterthought. But when it's all said and done, he steals the last win of the season and probably is going to gain some ground and finish the year really strong in terms of the points. But let's talk to him now. Gavin Isley up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Gavin, talk to us about the most chaotic race we have had maybe ever in this series, but definitely all season long. And at the end of the day, you survived to take the win.
Yeah, it was a lot of cautions in that one. Kind of crappy being the leader towards the end. Made it a little more nervous.
Yeah, it definitely makes you nervous, but talk to us about what you felt and how this racetrack changed and how you navigated it. We saw you earlier in the night really being that typical bottom feeder that you tend to be sometimes, but you really migrated around the facility and found the speed.
Well, this place usually ends up on the bottom, so I was kind of just saving my stuff, waiting for the end so I could really pressure it. And then who was in front of me? Brewer. He almost passed Kenny on the outside, so I was like, I'll move up there, test the waters, and it was really fast. And I crossed over Kenny, and I was like, well, I think we found a lane that nobody else really was running, and seemed to work.
And you make all that work by using that top side of the racetrack. Now, talk to us about the bumps in this facility and how they relate to the actual, real life facility of, having a purpose-built asphalt facility covered in dirt. You're going to end up with lots of bumps, and we saw these cars bouncing around. How did that affect you guys behind the wheel, even in the virtual world?
1 and 2 on the top wasn't too bad, but 3 and 4 on entry was really choppy. So you just had to make sure the car stayed planted on the final one so you didn't plow into the wall. But as long as you kind of timed your brakes correctly, you were fairly okay. But it's still a little chaotic as cars get out of control and people move around.
Gavin, you win the last one. A big moment, great way to end off the season. Who do you got to thank for what has been a great and consistent drive from you all season long?
I like to thank the Discord boys and Showtime Graphics.
There he is, the catfish. Gavin Isley, your winner on the final night of the Murder iRacing series. We'll try to get Dylan Smith up in here next and bring him in to chat with us. Dylan Smith, looks like he is in the booth. Dylan, you got a copy?
I do. What's up going on, guys?
We are trying to catch our breath and process everything that has just happened in what it was maybe even one of the most chaotic races that Joe and myself have ever called. Dylan, talk to us about this race from your vantage point and how you found yourself up to a podium position.
Oh man, I mean, first I gotta catch my breath after that. I mean, from ending up having to use my fast repair on like lap two, I think it was, to, just kind of sticking to Cody's rear bumper, kind of just going through the field with him. And, it was unfortunate to see what happened to him with a handful of laps to go, but I mean, just a race that long is just a race of attrition and just trying to keep your equipment clean and keep a good car underneath you and not try to make too many mistakes if you do make some. But I mean, you just got to try to make sure you hit your marks when you can and just try to run as many clean laps as possible.
Talk to us about, you just mentioned Cody. You guys were all conscious of the fact that there was that glitch. Things could go wrong in terms of, being up on the high side of the racetrack. How conscious of that were you as you raced?
You gotta be cautious of it, but yeah, at the same time, that's where the line was. So I kind of felt like the more I was babying the car to run the top, the more it was hurting me. So I just tried to run it in hard and just hope it stuck, I guess, and just hope that I didn't end up going out of the track.
And talk to us about that incident near the end from your vantage point with Kenny Ko, who's safely in a spot to win the title, and then all of a sudden he's turned across your nose while you're running third.
Yeah, I don't. I feel bad for doing that, and I wasn't by any means intentional. Just I'm running the extreme bottom, and I guess just when you run the a cut down like that, it's not. I don't want to say to be expected, but you know, I don't. I couldn't see him or Gavin when I was down there just because of how low I was and how high they were. So, when I did see Kenny, obviously I got off the gas and got on the brake, but at that point I had already turned him sideways, and I truly do feel bad for that. Kenny's a great guy. He's a great racer. Congrats to him. Hats off for hopefully winning the point championship there. But in a situation like that, I don't think you can really put me or Kenny at fault. It's just kind of one of those deals where he didn't know I was down there. I didn't know he was coming down. So it's unfortunate, but I apologize to Kenny already, and you know, it's just a bad deal there, I guess.
Yeah, just a racing deal. I don't think there's really any blame to be passed out one way or the other. Replays almost looked like Kenny was fighting it, trying to keep the car straight as it was. So, all in all, though, you were considered to be one of the most improved drivers of the season from start to finish, and it really shows here with a podium in your final run out for the year. So, Dylan, who do you got to thank for what was a great season of improvement and driving from week one all the way through?
Yeah. I mean, let me tell you, starting off at Volusia was pretty tough. I was coming in here, little Roselli there, Anthony messaged me like a week before the league started and asked me if I wanted to run. So I came in here, I've always watched the BR when it was the BRP the last couple years. I always watched, and just to be able to have the opportunity to come in here, and just feel welcomed by everybody in here from Joe, John, Matt, all the drivers in here, to just be able to feel welcomed was definitely a warm feeling. But it's just I'm like like you said, I was like the new guy here, so I had to learn how some people raced and learn just how to make my way through the fields and be able to run as well as I did, as well as also improve at the same time and just try to be as best as I could. But hanging out with Cody and Dom and Anthony in the Discord, I think definitely helped. Those guys were giving me some pointers, and just on how other people ran their cars, but I mean, I can't thank all them guys enough. But as far as my deal goes, I gotta thank TAD Excavation, Comfort Experts, Nelson's Bar, HigFab Chassis, Academy Transmissions, JPM Race Engines. Uh, my mom and my little brother are always watching. They're out in Pennsylvania. My little brother gets a kick out of this stuff, so I think he's probably bouncing off the walls right now. But uh, just gotta thank everybody in here for having a good season, and I hope to be back. And I really was itching for a win, but I didn't want to push my luck too much. I said, man, I'm running second. I might just have to settle for second. I don't want to go for a win and end up junking myself. But to I think end off a season in second, considering how it went, I'm pretty happy with that.
Absolutely. Dylan Smith coming off a great run, a great season of building progress and momentum all year long and capitalizing on a great night here, this final night, this chaotic night. Dylan Smith, your second place driver. Let's see if we can grab Jeff Sharp now. I believe he's up next, sitting in the waiting room and going to be able to join us here. Yeah, Jeff, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Jeff Sharp coming home third in the final event of the year. Talk to us about a wild night. I'm still kind of processing everything that went on. Talk to us about your night and how you kept the nose clean throughout the 75 laps to finish third.
I just tried to stay out of trouble and keep my car in one piece for the end, and it seemed to work out. I was doing pretty well rolling the bottom there. I just trying to stay away from that outside wall, but it worked out. Car stayed in one piece.
You mentioned, sticking to the bottom side of the racetrack. We saw drivers kind of migrate across multiple grooves. Some run in the middle, some run in the high side. You were able to keep the bottom rolling forward after starting out towards the back half of the top 10 in 10th. Just talk to us about how difficult it is to keep things clean on the bottom side of the racetrack, especially with as bumpy and as rough as the surface can be.
Well, it's a little smoother on the bottom, and as long as you can avoid hitting the wall and getting into the back of someone that may hit the wall in front of you, it was pretty clear.
Great night for you. Great season overall. To cap it off with a podium here. Got to feel great. Who do you got to thank for what was an awesome night?
I'll just thank Matt and the sponsors for running the league. It was real nice to come home with a positive finish at the end.
Absolutely, and well deserved. We appreciate you always showing up and showing out for this series and being a big part of it. Jeff Sharp in the 28 gets it done with a third place finish, Joe. And I think, do we have the points finished, tabulated? Do we have a champion to crown officially?
We do. We have the points tabulated, and we have a champion crowned. And I'll go ahead and bring the champion into the booth with us, and we'll get to talk to him. Your 2024 to 2025 MRDR iRacing Series season champion is the driver of the number 22C, Kenny Coe. Kenny, we got you up in the booth here. You got a copy, brother.
Yeah, I got you.
Kenny, holy cow. That was a mess of a race.
Exactly. Yeah.
Talk to me. Tell me more about especially that incident that you had at the end of the race.
Oh, that's all on me. He apologized 1,000 times, but I thought the only chance I'd get at getting back to Gav would be running cut down 1 and 2, because I was running that and I seemed to be catching him before that caution, and I tried it, didn't hear him down there. He was there. That was completely my fault, but it was I mean, I didn't know what really happened behind me. I knew it was a mess. I apologized to Ant. I didn't realize he was below me on that. I think it was the second lap. But yeah, it was an interesting race. All the top point leader guys seemed to have problems tonight.
Yeah, that definitely is the rhythm, the cadence of this race tonight. I want to go back a couple weeks.
Yep.
I want to go back to your issues, your technical difficulties.
Yep.
You had a mountain to climb, and then you came to Lanier last week, and you really showed up and showed out. Talk to me about the falling down and getting back up again between those couple weeks? And then how did that come into tonight? How did you bring that energy into tonight?
Yeah, honestly, after Charlotte, I thought I was done. Like that was just especially against these guys, it's like a good league, and um, it's tough competition. I mean, I thought I would have to win at least 1, 2 races to get back in it. And I got the one last week, and then come into today, got the pole, got the heat race. And then I had I heard people go, like I was in a call with Higbie and them, and they kept saying they were flying over the wall. So I'd let off my gas thinking there was a caution coming, but we didn't throw one because iRacing doesn't pick it up. So that screwed me a couple times, but it all still worked out. Kind of bad to finish off. I didn't mean to cut off Dylan there, but I'm still glad he finished second.
Well, it's a hell of a podium. I mean, for somebody who's been a part of this series for a long time, it's very rare to see somebody come in and just get better like Dylan Smith has all season long. And Jeff Sharp, having him on the podium is so freaking cool. I mean, he's been a part of this series for a long time. But Kenny, this is your first season. This is your first time doing this, and you won the championship. I mean, first off, congratulations. And just tell me, like, what is this? How are you feeling? What does this mean to you to have, whatever happened, whatever it is, it all unfolded, and you're the one on top?
Yeah, no, I didn't even know about this league. I just started iRacing in this past December, so a year and a couple months now. And I raced Anthony. We were on the same setup shop team for a little bit, and then he texted me about this league and he said I thought I'd be a good fit. And then from week one, I just had a great time. I'd gone through the week. I would always look forward to Monday nights, and just a great group of guys. I mean, Matt did a great job running the league. You guys, I watched your broadcast once, maybe twice every time after the race. It was just great. I can't thank everyone enough. And then I got quite a few people watching every week. My boss, Corey Novotny at Power Engineers, he watches every week. So we get a pretty good conversation about it every week in the office. And then my family watches here and there. So my girlfriend, it's just a great support, and I appreciate you guys broadcasting it. It's definitely new for me. It's been a fun time.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to bring it to you, and it's definitely cool to hear the learning curve that you went through was like about a year, I mean less than a year to the first race of this season, and you've had a hell of a time. You've had some great momentum all the way through the season. One little hiccup, but you didn't let it stop you. Who do you have to thank and shout out one last time here for that 22C car becoming the first ever champion of the MRDR iRacing series?
Yep. So, like I said before, all my family, everyone that watches, my girlfriend, all the guys at Power, they bust on me quite a bit throughout the weekend, watching the race and stuff. So that's pretty fun. Then Public Enemy. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten as good as I've gotten in a year without Public Enemy and Sean McPhee and Logan Herbert. I've learned just about everything from them, so can't thank them enough.
Well, very good, Kenny Co. Very happy to see it all the way through for you. Congratulations from all of us. That prize pool, that championship, that's a little bit of nice cash for you, but hey, we'll set you back to celebrate. You did a damn good job this whole way through the season. You deserve this very much, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. And that is your champion, Kenny Co, Jonathan. And yeah, he won it by 4 points. Mike Brewer ended up being second place in the championship with 270 points to Kenny Co's 274. Cody Higbie had 267. He ends up third. Anthony Roselli retained fourth in the championship. Gavin Isley is fifth at the end of it. Then Matt DeRitter is sixth. Dominic Roselli is seventh. Jeff Sharp bounced all the way up to eighth place in the points. Ryan Beagle ends up ninth. Brandon Plank will end your top 10 in points at the end of this season. So that's the whole rundown of the points, top 10 at least. And I know we have to bring Matt DeRitter in here, the league owner, league operator. Jonathan, if you want to maybe give him a couple questions about just everything that he's seen and gone through, because he was a part of this race tonight, and then he put it on, and he put on the whole season, and I'm sure Matt's got a lot of thoughts, and obviously he's going to have to take some time to think through them, but he's probably got a lot of thoughts about what's happened this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's start with just tonight, Matt. I mean, geez, this is one of the more chaotic events that we have had ever in any sort of league. Dating back to the BRP iRacing League a couple years back now. But from your vantage point, what did you see tonight? Because you found yourself all over this race and all over this racetrack in some good ways and bad ways.
Yeah, in the track, out of the track, under the track, it's not that many good thoughts right now for this event, but not sure what's up with iRacing in this track and just having walls that don't exist, but I guess hearing from some guys up at the front, it seemed like it was some good racing between Isley and everybody, so just I couldn't believe what was going on with the start and most of the points guys all having to pit on lap 2, and it's just like, man, I know we were in for a rough one just from that. So definitely not the proudest of races from the season, but you got to have one bad egg, I guess. So can't really let it take away from the rest of the season and how successful it was. So hopefully we can get something going for another one.
I mean, have you ever been a part of anything like this tonight where we saw all four title contenders have issues in big ways all night long? And, like we've had the races where one guy has an issue. I think Cody Higbie crashed out of a race a couple of years back that ended up handing a title to Ryan Beagle. But, this was truly a level of chaos where I had no words by the end of it. From the driver's side, I don't know what channels you were hanging out in and who you were talking to throughout the evening and all that sort of stuff. But what was the driver feedback during the race like?
Yeah, I was in with pretty much all the boys. We had Cody and I think Brewer popped in for a bit, but yeah, Cody, Anthony, Dominic, Kenny, and we were all kind of bouncing around and just figuring out what was going on. Cause yeah, man, it was pretty nuts just seeing Anthony go first pretty much and collect a couple of us, and from there it was just dominoes falling. So like you said, the last time we really had something like this was Cody, when I guess he had some kind of computer issue, and we thought that was a big deal. And now we come here and we got pretty much everybody in the top 5 besides Gavin having issues. So definitely not the finale we thought we would see, but I'm hoping it was at least a little eventful and fun to watch.
I think it had to be entertaining. I don't know what all the YouTube comments are saying or who was saying what throughout the chat. I think Joe had that open during the event, but man, oh man, I didn't know what was going to happen in this event. And altogether, what a great season, though, Matt. You must be very proud of this entire season in this league to have 4 drivers mathematically in this, trying to win this title, going into the final event. What can you say about this whole entire season and all the drivers and everybody who was a part of the MRDR iRacing series this time?
Yeah, I think for sure we got a great group of guys together to put this thing on, and it's been fun getting to meet new people and bring new people in, but also have those guys who've been with us for a couple years now, and yeah, definitely looking forward to whatever we can build for the future. And it's definitely been a good season, especially with all the different things we've been trying to figure out, and I think we put something good together for sure.
Really is a special time to be a part of this league, and I'm so happy to have been asked to be back and be a part of this. And Matt, I can't thank you enough for everything that you did to put this on. Joe, yourself as well, and everybody who watched. What a year! What a race! What a way to go out!
Yeah, definitely. Also, I want to extend the gratitude personally to Matt as well across the stage here for the 3 of us at the end of this whole season, because he did a shit ton of work for this. So really, a lot of all the credit really should go to Matt for keeping this band of brothers together and giving these guys a place to race on these Monday nights. A lot of the everybody, I can't say a lot, I can say everybody really appreciates and enjoys being a part of this series, whether you're watching, whether you're commentating like Jonathan and I are, especially the racers. They really appreciate this a lot. So it means a lot when you put as much work as you have into something that people receive as well as they receive this series. So I think it is a It is a representation of your hard work to see the success and to see the pleasure that all these people have been getting out of this series and will continue to get out of the next season of it too. But yeah, I mean, and to Jonathan as well, aside of me, absolutely, it is more than a pleasure to be here. It is just fun. We make a good environment. You know, I mean, Jonathan and I are not perfect by any means, but we do a pretty good job. And we really appreciate everybody who gives us the positivity in response. We do it for fun. We do it because Matt and Jonathan and I all have passion for this sport and these cars and this video game and these people. So to be a part of all of that is very special to me. I'm very honored to continue to be a part of it. I think I'm in, it's 6 seasons now. I think that's the right number from when I started with it as a sort of a backup commentary guy to now producing this show with Jonathan aside of me. But yeah, so, that's enough of the tearjerkers, I guess. But I guess we'll go around the horn one last time really quick. Final thoughts, final remarks. If you have one thing to leave the people watching with, Matt Dritter and then Jonathan Howe, what is it?
Yeah, for sure. I guess just this is just the beginning, really, for our new ideas here, and obviously everyone watching and our partners with Murder Graphics, MBR Designs. We had Slate Electrical come on for a good race, and BRPtv with you guys and your 47 Technology, Southern Ontario Dirt Show. We'll get them all in, and Dan for sure, Creative Turnings just stepping up, and obviously Dean wasn't here tonight, but Dean and Super Dirt Car for coming on board for this race, and hopefully the real stuff isn't as bad as what we ran, but yeah, great group of guys racing with us, great group of partners, and excited to see what we can do.
Yeah, Matt, I echo those sentiments, and I'm so happy to be a part of this. It's for somebody who does this for the real cars as well. It's a great way for me to stay in vocal shape and stay in shape in terms of calling a race throughout a season. It presents a little bit of a unique, different opportunity because it's not me trackside doing this. It's more of a true TV broadcast style, and I really value that experience. And I think I want to turn it out towards the fans. Anybody who hopefully is still tuned in and watching this, or anybody who's going to go back and watch this broadcast later on, what do you want to see from us next and the Murder iRacing series? Typically this is just a wintertime thing, but I think we're all open to more events throughout the calendar of the year. And obviously a lot of the guys that we have in this league are involved in actual racing and find themselves pretty busy during the week, but there's no reason that we can't find a way to get something together. And I hope that we get this opportunity to get it together again before next fall, when we'll bring back this series in a big way, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I completely agree with Jonathan, and I will extend feedback. I love feedback. I don't care if, as long as it's constructive, if it's good or bad. Anything from you guys out there, anything that you want to leave with us about what we've done here with this series, and to the drivers as well. Same goes for you guys to call it out to Matt and Jonathan and myself. But overall, Jonathan gets to do this in the real world too, and that's, it's really fun. I don't do this in the real world. I basically show up to my local dirt tracks, pay a pit pass admission, bring in a camera, and goof off. So for me, this is pretty high level, but this was my stress response, my job, like my source of income when I was in college, and especially in COVID, was broadcasting iRacing events. So for me, this is a very, I think, core part of who I've become the last 5 years, and it's a pleasure to do it. So to do it alongside these guys and to do it for all of you is a pleasure, and I'm more than excited to do it again and bring it back to you when the season starts up again. So in the meantime, for all of you who are still with us, it's been a pleasure to bring you the Murder iRacing series here on BRPtv. We want to thank you for your continued support of the series and the channel. Be sure to tune in with us again next season. It's going to be as good, if not better. Maybe iRacing will fix the issues that are going on with the walls at Oswego so we can run here again. But on behalf of all of our partners, Murder Graphics, MDR Designs, Creative Turnings, 47 Technology, Southern Ontario Dirt Show, Slight Electrical, the Super Dirt Car Series, Matt DeRitter, Jonathan Howe, and myself, Joe Donahue. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for watching. This is the final sign-off of this season. We will see you again on the flip side. Don't go anywhere too far. Your friends are right here with BRP.